Welcome to Cornerstone Worship Center in Vestaburg, Michigan. And today is a follow-up from what we did last week. And we had the same couple here. We got Richard and Debbie Bailey. And last week we kind of circled in and on the man who's got the beautiful haircut, Richard, and how he has, through faith and through endurance, licked a alcohol problem. And now this time we're going to go to Debbie and feature on her. She hasn't had a drinking problem that I know of, but she has really been through some things in life that are very difficult and hard to deal with, and some that we all do. But this was different in that. How long was your dad not mobile with his illness?
He was bedridden for 4 years.
For 4 years,
Yeah.
and he had.
Well, actually, he was bedridden. I mean, he could get in a wheelchair, but, bedridden for 4, on life support.
Yeah, and he had Lou Gehrig's
Correct.
disease.
Yeah.
And I knew nothing about it, Lou Gehrig's. I knew of Lou Gehrig, his baseball player, who had to quit because he had it, but I had no idea what it was. I knew it was something to do with the throat, and that's about it. And she started coming to our church somewhere around 2010, something like that. And
actually, way before that.
It was way before that?
Yeah.
Okay. I know it was quite some time. And we got to know each other, and we'd talk occasionally. And then one day you asked me a question, and I thought to myself, that's kind of a foolish question. But and the question was this: do you ever come and visit, or something of that nature?
Yeah, I can't remember.
And I said, well, and if I remember, I said, well, sure. And so she told me what the case of her father and what was taking place, and wanted to know if we'd come out and visit. And I got hold of my wife's brother, and we went out there. Almost never found the place. I went down the wrong road, and I don't know. I probably told you we'd be there whatever time it was, and I know we were late because. Man, we circled around the same area for a long time.
Yeah.
And we got there and went in, and I don't remember now, but we visited with him for quite some time. And then I don't know how we just started doing this, but we decided that we would take the musicians out. And not that we'd go out there to preach. Your father didn't need any preaching, but what he needed was encouragement. And we'd sing some songs, and we'd sing maybe, I don't know, we'd sing until they got tired of singing. And then we would pray with your dad, and just kind of love on him a little bit. And it was just a great time. And even though his facial expressions were not that good, but you could see a smile on his face when we entered into that place.
Yeah.
And I'd always walk up and kiss him on that forehead, and I don't know if he liked it or not, but I did it anyway, and I got to love him. We probably did that for, I know it was over a year.
It was a long time.
Yeah, it may have been up to 2 years. We tried to do it at least once a month. Go out there and spend the evening doing it. And it was, I'll be honest about it, I think it was a highlight of people who would go out. And it's not that we'd take too many. We'd have maybe 8, 10 people to go out. They had a big living room, so it was.
Yeah, we had church when you guys came out there.
Yeah, it was. There wasn't any preaching, but there was
A good time.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah,
And sometimes your kids would be there,
yeah,
but nearly every time Matthew would be there.
yeah.
And that's where I got to know Matthew. And that was kind of a love thing too. And it still is. Whenever Matthew sees, he's always smiles and I always smile at him. And we just started to build up a relation. And your stepmother, she was, of course, she was there. And we got a relationship with her.
Yeah.
And I hate to put it this way, but we had the pleasure of giving the going home celebration for both your dad and your stepmother.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of.
You were the first one there when my dad was airlifted to Lakeview. You were the first one there. There was several ministers that were called, and you were the first one there for my mom, and that meant a lot to her.
Yeah, it was.
You were always there, no matter where.
Well, that's our responsibility, I think, is to meet people's needs, and it's all of our job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and how? No, I can't answer that question. I remember this, and I probably have told you this. I don't know if I did or not. But I told your dad one evening, I says, the day's going to come when you're going to go down our center aisle and you're going to preach. And I believe that. Well, he passed and was going to have the funeral service here. And if you'll remember, we had radiant chairs. We had over 200 people here.
That was the best funeral. I mean, it's weird to say that's the best funeral I've ever been to.
Yeah. It was.
That was like church too.
It was, yes. And they opened that door to wheel him in. And chairs were all over there. Now, normally, I told him just go down the hall, that wall, and come up front. Well, he couldn't get there. So he wheeled the thing down to the center aisle and put him up here.
Yeah.
And I said then, he may not be on the platform, but he's preaching. And it was quite an event. And I'm so thankful that you asked us to do it.
You guys did an awesome job.
We've had several services here that was just super, but I think that was probably because he was a holy man.
A lot of people said it, that you guys did an awesome job. It was one of the best funerals they've been to. A lot of people come to us, to a lot of the family.
Yeah, it was probably his second best was when her husband died, when Jennifer's husband died. Again, that one we televised.
Mm-hmm.
And the last time we looked, I forget.
Over 900.
Over 900
Wow.
people had watched it on. And that's amazing.
That's awesome.
It
Yeah.
is. Yeah. If we had cameras, well, we did have the knowledge or the people then. We would have done it with that one. And it's kind of neat because people really want to watch it over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And they can. Now, I don't think I ever asked you, what got you here the first place? Or do you?
Me and Ricky came here when it was just a garage. My oldest son came here.
We just had that part.
I guess it was a small room. A small building. Must have been your garage.
Well, you started in the garage.
Okay, we came here.
No, I don't remember you coming then.
One time we came here, and then like a few years later we came back, me and my son, and then all my kids ended up coming, and then Richard came a couple years later. That was probably 2005, probably.
We moved out here in
2006.
2002,
Okay, it's about 2005.
okay? And then 2006, we added this onto
Okay.
it. Yeah, okay. Boy, I don't remember, is my wife still here? Do you remember her
I don't,
being at the garage?
no, I don't remember the garage. We used to have the garage over at another place.
You had a guest speaker, it was a lady evangelist or someone who was here. We didn't come for that reason, we just happened to be here that
It's a
night.
missionary from Mexico,
Oh, okay.
yes.
Tony and Laura were here, or there, whatever.
I don't
Seems
think
like-
Tony and Laura was ever at the garage. They didn't start here until,
When we came here, they were already
oh, yes,
here.
yes.
Okay.
So, and then you hung around for a while. And isn't it amazing the way God puts us together?
Mm-hmm.
And it's what a family. It really is. When you first came, what did you think? You weren't really a church goer then.
Nope.
You
He
probably
thought
thought,
Pentecostals were crazy. We were
So-
rude.
The first time I went to church with her was down in Greenville, and it was Pastor Eddie Carpenter.
Mm-hmm. Church of the Rock.
And when we left church, I told her, I said, them people are rude. She said, what do you mean? I said, you're supposed to sit down, shut up, and listen.
He
You don't jump up and down, scream and holler, and run around in church.
He grew up. He grew up in a Lutheran family.
okay.
They went. They were a Lutheran church. So.
I mean, I enjoyed it.
Extreme different. So.
One of the best ones that I have been to was a black church in Ypsilanti. Remember that one?
That can get exciting.
Oh man, that was church. I mean,
When I was still in the Detroit area, about 40 churches got together and had Bill Wilkerson come. And in preparation for it, we met every month for breakfast at a different church, and we would have breakfast and then pray for it. And one of the Saturday mornings that we had it was with the black church in Detroit area. And that was one of the most amazing breakfasts and prayers I've ever seen in my life. I thought to myself, why can't we get that excited
yeah,
about serving
they
God?
get into it.
Even the young ones, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah. And the pastor there, he said, I want to show you something. And he took us underneath the choir platform. And they had 8-inch steel beams. And one of the guys said, why do you have such support? And he says, when the choir gets moving, we want to make sure it doesn't collapse.
yeah.
And I would love to go back to visit. Now, I've been to many different churches.
Yeah.
And the ones that impress me more than anything else is the Mexican churches. Their music is just, as far as I'm concerned, just outstanding. Yeah. Now, your dad was in Detroit area, wasn't he? If I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, he was raised in Detroit.
Yeah, but did you have a church there?
No, not my dad.
Okay.
No. He evangelized for a while, you know, and then he, you know, got the church in Lakeview, but.
And so that's the only church he had?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Now, was the building, I'm sure it was, the building was there when he came up, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's an older building.
yeah. It's PCAG owns it.
Mhm.
Church in Lakeview.
Yeah. And boy, I can't think of his name now. He has it now, the mortician.
Brigham.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Steve?
yeah.
Steve, yes.
Steve,
I haven't talked to Steve for a long time, and I need to, he and I gets along very well, yeah. And I think it's still PG, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Was your life as a PK? Pastor's kid. I saw your wheels turning.
It was good. I mean, my dad was the best to us, you know. I mean, he took care of us, and we couldn't date till we were 18, but we were okay with that.
Well, how many was in the family?
There was my my two sisters and my two brothers, so there was 5 of us. Yeah.
Have I met them?
They all came. I mean, probably. I mean, they all came to the funeral. So.
Okay. Because I don't remember you ever.
There's Chris. You know Chris.
Yeah.
And then Cheryl, and then my brother James, and then Matthew.
Okay. Oh yeah, Matthew, of course.
Of course, Matthew.
He's the youngest, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old is he now?
He'll be 39 in June.
He said very well.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with him?
I'm not really sure. I mean, they really never diagnosed him with any, you know. I mean, he has a mentality probably of an 8-year-old. You know?
Right.
But,
Well, a lot of that is through the birth. I know that.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
And I just wondered if that was a possibility.
Yeah, it was a birth defect, but he was never, you know, with Down syndrome or anything. It was never, you know, he was never labeled anything or whatever, you know. But
He's a good kid.
yeah, he can take care of himself, and
Yes.
he is not dumb. He knows, you know, and
Right.
he knows his Bible, and
Oh yeah.
he loves the Lord.
Yes, he does. The other day he was telling me that he was driving a tractor. And I said, "Why are you driving a tractor?" He said, "I'm plowing."
Oh.
No, I don't know if he was something that he was dreaming up or.
I don't know. We
He
wasn't that
loves
long
to
ago went to
watch 'em.
Anderson's, and he was on the tractor at Anderson Orchard, you know.
Oh yeah,
So he might have been talking about that. I don't
that's probably what it was. And I told him, I said, "I'm sure glad I wasn't around."
know. I hope he's not driving tractors.
Yeah.
We don't know about it.
Oh, and maybe I just misunderstood. He might have said he was riding a tractor.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, I just enjoy him. Yeah. If you had the opportunity to do something for the Lord and just been a good witness, what would it be?
Work on having him help me figure out how to get my kids back into church. Serve the Lord.
If you get
I need a lot of advice.
Well, I tell you, that's one that we all deal with. See, I had 5 children. My son died when he was 3.5, so I know where he is.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had my second daughter. Boy, was it 3 years ago? No, it was before this
COVID.
COVID. It was just shortly before that. She passed away with liver, what do you call it? She was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Liver disease.
Yeah. And so unfortunately, I probably know where she is too. And that leaves me 3 daughters. Well, 2 of them do go to church. Now, I don't know how, because they're all in the Detroit area. I don't know how devoted they are, but they'll talk to you about the Lord. So I'm encouraged by that.
Mm-hmm.
But one isn't. And of course, we was talking about that earlier today, that the Lord promises us that when you're saved, that the whole household gets saved.
Save your children.
Yeah, and so we stand on that. We've got to believe that his word is true. And so, and I think one of the things that's mentioned when we were discussing that is this, that our witness has to be more than our mouth. It has to be our actions.
Yeah.
And boy, I tell you, I wished I knew what those actions were. It's tough, especially nowadays when you go, every place you go is anti-God.
Yeah,
In schools,
it is starting to come back in schools, but slowly.
slowly, but anything is better than what it
Yeah,
has been. And we had just recorded our Friday message before you got here. And one thing we talked about is how do we really become a better witness? And it's tough, especially in today's society. And especially when you're dealing with your kids, I think that's the hardest, because you want to pick up a baseball bat and pound some sense into them. Yeah. But, so the only thing we do is just be a better parent than what we are. And how do we do that? I don't know, especially when they're not living with you anymore. Now, I know one doesn't.
Right. Two live
two
up
of
us.
them live with us.
The two
Yep.
still live with you,
Yeah.
okay? Because one's married. I started to say, and that's good, but sometimes I'm not too sure it is. We, was it last year? No, 2 years ago, you had the men's outing.
Yeah,
And we went to the camp
camp, yep.
and we had lunch. And was two of them, two of your sons, or all three of them there?
No, just, I don't even remember.
You had two
Yeah,
there.
Nick came, and Trevor,
Yeah,
yep,
and I think they enjoyed themselves.
yeah,
But that was a chance to at least live a little bit of Christian life before them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I know they do that you live that in front of them. But maybe you need to find the answer so you can tell me. Then I'll look so smart.
you can tell, that way you can tell the world.
Yes.
Everybody needs to know that, especially nowadays.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It
You know,
is.
It's
terrible.
not good.
Yeah, no, it's not. But all we can do is just keep on keeping on to doing that. And I guess love them just a little bit more, which is kind of hard to do sometimes when they do stupid things like we did.
Yeah.
I mean, like you did, I did.
No. You did nothing wrong?
No.
I didn't think so.
No.
You're not under that steel plate, no?
If it hits me, it's got you too. Life is short, and yet it's long. If you had the opportunity to do anything different, what would it be?
Oh boy.
Other than find a handsome man.
How I handled the passing of my dad. I always said when he was here, that I just wish, I didn't ever want him to lose him, but,
Yeah, right.
without the healing of the Lord, I knew it was gonna happen.
That's right.
So I always was wishing that it would get over with, that, I'd wake up in a year would already been passed. I didn't want to deal with that first year of losing him. I said that all the time. You know, I mean, he was diagnosed with it. He had it for 10 years before he passed away with it. And through the years of, you know, taking care of him, and I mean, I'd do it all over again, but it was hard, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But, definitely the way I handled it, you know.
Well, at least as an observer, I thought that the whole family handled it, taking care of him. Of course, I wasn't there. I wasn't in the house.
Oh, we did good with that. Me and
Yeah.
Bonnie, I mean, while Bonnie worked until she retired, I was the primary caregiver, and that was not, I mean, it was hard, but that wasn't, you know, that was not the hard part. It was dealing with losing him, not having him there.
You're right. And I remember he went down to the hospital, and from what I heard was that he says, I'm just ready to give it up,
He was tired, yeah.
that I'm ready to go home. And I understand that. And he went to the hospital. And I know I went down there, and I did not see him, but I went down and saw all you. Somebody said it's best you not go in, and I said that's fine. I just want to be here for any support I can, but I didn't stay too long. And I think he died during that night. And it was, I guess I'm a coward when it comes to a whole bunch of, because man, that floor was loaded with people down there. And they all had a different story. And I don't like to get involved in family issues if I can avoid it. You know, he was a great man. And I've said this so many times. My life has been blessed by allowing me to be involved in such great people's lives. And you two are part of it. My life has been enriched by knowing you two. And you kind of give me a little bit of character. 3 minutes. I got this feeling now. I always know when I'm going to get 3 or 4. So I want to give you the opportunity to say to the world, and by the way, the whole world watches this program, what it's like, or how do you keep yourself up when you're dealing with somebody with a long-term illness?
Take all the help and advice you can. I mean, and a lot of prayer, a lot of friends, Christian friends, people that love the Lord. You know,
Right.
everybody here was a huge help with that. You know, it's just, I kind of, you know, I shouldn't have ran away from the people that wanted to be there for me. You know, it's just overwhelming. You know, don't let, you know, when something like that happens, take all the support and don't push people away. You know, especially people praying friends, you know,
Right.
run to them.
Well, let's face it, most of us don't have perfect wisdom. I said no one has perfect wisdom. But as long as we learn with the events that we go through, that's what's important. I'm glad that you watch this program, and we hope that it's built up your faith to some degree, and through it, the information you have gained over the last 2 weeks will help you. And if you know somebody who needs help, tell them to kind of watch this occasionally. And you too, I want to thank you for being here. I've been wanting to do this for quite some time. And somebody, was it you who told me Sunday night or Sunday, somebody sent us a letter says, how come you haven't had Richard on? Huh? Oh, it's my wife? Oh. And I says, well, I've been wanting to. So Monday morning or maybe it was even Sunday, I sent you a note that said, we'd like
Yeah, I
to
think it
have
was
you two
Sunday.
on. And you said, yeah, you should have said something. For shame. But anyway,
For shame.
we're glad you did, and I think you did wonderful. And
Well, thank you.
I even love you more. So, and I'm so glad that you're here to minister with us. Praise the Lord. Be highly blessed. See you next week.